It's three guys who combined to play 15 seasons in the National Football League trenches. Well, two guys. And Mackey, who didn't do shit. This is the O-Line Committee.
Week 1, boys. Week 1.
Welcome
in the books.
back.
Dude.
Oh,
Dan Campbell's Sunday night.
It was glorious. Dude, I fell asleep. before overtime. It was
Here's
bad.
a guy.
I
Here's
know.
a guy who's a
I
that's
know.
an SFR fine. That's
I
an
know,
SFR
dude.
fine.
I was
hit
not-
him. Hit him.
Dude, okay. To be fair,
Nope.
to be fair,
Sensitive.
I got to go to the Nebraska game the night before and watch the Huskers shit all over Deion Sanders, and it was phenomenal.
I'll bet it was.
And so I didn't get home till like midnight. But after that game, like so juiced, so wired, like just everything. I didn't go to bed till like 2, and then got up, went to church, did the whole song and dance. And then by the time that game was gone, dude, I was laying in bed and I was like, "Come on, you can do it. Stay awake." And then it was like the 2-minute warning. I was like, "I'm just gonna close my eyes for a second." And then the next thing I know, I woke up and I was like, it was like 2 a.m. I grabbed my phone. I was like, "Damn it!"
son of a... Dude, did you see the Dan Campbell Applebee's commercials at least?
Yes.
Hey, cover your mouth. Cover your mouth. Your sides. It's fucking hilarious.
You want the
I
50
love
cent
him.
wings too? You want the 50 cent wings too? Dude, I love that. I love
him.
that commercial.
He's so funny, dude.
the Saban's got a good commercial too.
Oh my god, with the B&B.
The B&B
Check-ins
commercial.
not till 3. It's 2:55. Is he always like this? Dude, it's fucking hilarious. There are no kids allowed in the house. Like I was like, dude, such a Nick Saban thing. Fucking
Nick
hilarious.
Saban on
Hey,
College
guys,
game day now.
We are here.
Great.
This can I just say the NFL season starting is so much better than the college football season starting. I'm sorry. No bullshit.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
I'm with Booney on this.
Dude, this week has gone fucking bananas. I mean, it started before the games even fucking started. Like the news breaking out, everything happening. Week 1 chaos. You got dudes in Brazil going down there starting off a fuck fest and then turns into an electric excitement. Like, dude, you got to be Ravens KC, get the fuck out of here. I was throwing shit at the TV. Like, dude, this much. By
Game
the
of
way,
inches, boys. Game
Dude.
of inches.
As Patrick Mahomes says, maybe wear white cleats next time, buddy. Learn your lesson.
I think he was wearing the new Dion's, wasn't he? They look like the new Dion's. And
Well,
I was
those are
like,
Is that
If
why
they're
they came out a
Dion's,
little
they're
short?
if they're Dion's, they're just
They got giant L's on
They
the side.
were. They
L's.
fucking
Yeah.
were. Hey, but you know what's an even bigger L? When you put Chris Jones on Justice Hill like twice in a row, and I'm like, hey.
he doesn't get home.
But he still causes enough panic that the dude is behind. Dude, what the fuck are you got 7,000 pounds up front. Just go the other way.
We'll see. We'll see.
I know.
Well-
I can't even hold myself in. I'm so fucking.
Well, we got
out of
mics,
control.
right?
I'm sorry.
You want me to start? I have a hot one. I got a
here's
hot
what we're
one.
doing.
Hit
Just
me.
for the
Hit
new
me.
audience here.
We're excitable. Sorry, we're
We are
excitable.
so fucking excited.
Every week, we're going to start these week recap episodes with Who's the Mic, where we identify the people, the things, the teams on our minds. We'll get to so 2 main episodes every single week, sort of a part 1, part 2. Who's the Mic, and is this a hot football take on one? And then we'll do dumb football questions as a separate episode. But yeah, let's just go around the room a bunch of times. And Jay,
Ladies
you
first.
start us off.
Go ahead.
I've got a
Who's
sad
The
one.
Mic.
I've got a really sad one for you New York Giants fans out there.
Is
And
it,
again,
though?
I got a client. I love the Giants. My son somehow has become a Giants fan. It's his favorite team. And I'm like, buddy, you're setting yourself up for a lot of pain and sadness. I saw a stat today that's actually somewhat mind-blowing. Since Daniel Jones has signed his $160 million extension, he has thrown more touchdown passes to the opposing team than to his own team. That is just so bad. Like,
That's outlandish. That's outlandish.
did
It
you?
is.
And then you've got fans sitting around after the game, waiting for you to come out of to go to your car, and are just heckling you.
Oh,
Your own
yeah.
fans.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
like, Danny, I'm gonna need $1 million back. Like, I'm gonna need $1 million back, Danny. Like, oh my gosh, dude, that poor guy is getting just ran through the ringer up in New York right now.
So yesterday, and of course, I was glued to this because, Vikings. And in fairness to Daniel Jones, against that gauntlet of a Brian Flores defense, I think Patrick Mahomes would have struggled yesterday. But
Easy.
But dude, so
Easy.
the Giants were celebrating 100 years of New York Giants football yesterday. It was a packed house. Lawrence Taylor's out there for the coin toss. You got Eli Manning and Phil Simms, the legendary quarterbacks, there for the pregame ceremony. Everyone's ready to rock and roll. First game of the year. Everyone's got a chance, right? With 13 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the first quarter, that fan base was booing the Giants off the field a minute and a half into the season, and they're booing the
field. Dude, hey, what do you expect? You're in New York. I am all about it. Fans make this game great, and when you don't produce and we pay you a lot of money, you're going to fucking hear about it. Dude, it's how it goes. But my whole thing is, how the fuck do you let Saquon walk? How the fuck do you let that
they would have never paid
find a way. Stop it. Right now, I will kick that can so far down the road that 3 GMs down the road is going to fucking feel
Booney,
it. I don't care.
At least he looked terrible in week 1, huh?
Hey,
at least he looked bad with
Well, what? Who's got the Eagles run game? My point exactly. Like, this is going into this is where I start to get mad and I go, hey, we all kind of saw this coming, and them letting him walk was everybody going, this is a bad fucking idea. And not only that, dude, but you're in a tough fucking market. That's how it goes. You're in New York, the toughest there ever was.
In defense,
I'll
put my defense hat on. In defense of letting Saquon walk, Saquon would not have the success that he had in Philly on that New York Giants football team.
But he causes more of a threat.
But
he has more eyeballs on
you
him.
can't. Philly has the luxury of saying that's the piece we're missing. We're missing the home run hitter, right? We've had Swift. We've had Boston Scott. Like, we've had backs that we've just kind of rotated through here that have been productive. But we've never had a workhorse.
Right.
Like, we haven't had the dude. And so they had the luxury of, like, that's the one piece we need. You look at that Giants football team, they're a lot of pieces away. And so I don't know how you can justify, and again, this is my defense hat. If I'm Joe Sheen, I'm sitting there going, I can't justify paying this dude all this money in the world knowing that we don't have the talent around us. We're not going to win games just because we have him. And they're in a rebuild mode. And that's where they came from. And I mean, they're going to lose a lot of football games this year. They've got young talent on the edge with Hyatt and Neighbors and Bellinger, and they're revamped that entire offensive line. I don't think the offensive line played that bad. I really don't. I went back and watched the tape. Daniel had time. There were some holes in the run game. Obviously, when you fall way behind and Flores just turns up the heat, it's a recipe for disaster. But, I felt like they'd made some improvements, but that roster still just needs a ton of work, and paying Saquon wasn't going to change the fact of how much work that roster really needed.
I guess I just don't see how you let him walk, though, because you're looking at this going, hey, this is a big piece to our offense. And if we lose this, not even 3 guys can put in as much work.
Here's a question. Do you think Saquon said the price for me to come back is more than he took to go to Philly?
No.
With the disrespectful vibe.
The disrespect, and also knowing, like, this is the price for losing. Like, this is the price for me knowing that I'm not going to go win a Super Bowl. Right? My price is more than coming here.
If I'm Joe Sheehan, I justifiably pay it. I go, listen, you are a great back, and when you're on the field, you can cause more chaos than anybody. Just you motioning somewhere causes half the defense to go, what are we fucking doing? Like, that's just enough to get away with young talent on the outside and have playmakers out there, and all of a sudden we're just dangling this motherfucker. But when you let him walk and you turn around and put that out, celebrating 100 years of history, you got me going, what the fuck is going on? And I agree with you. I don't think the offensive line played bad. I'm just looking at one guy going, hey, maybe one counterpiece to this makes this a lot better. And it's an outlandish stat that he has thrown more touchdowns for the other team than he has his own. That is, I'm not even kidding you, after getting paid $160 million. That's insanity to me. But that's what's going to happen. What do you expect the New York fan base to do when you're paying them that much money and they let their beloved treasure walk? Dude, I would have paid Saquon as much as $25 million a year. I don't give a shit, dude. Like, I know what we have out there, and I know that
do you think that you watched that game yesterday, 28-6, and it's not like the Vikings are Super Bowl contenders either. Do you think the Giants are? I agree. The Giants' loss is Philadelphia's huge gain with Saquon Barkley. That dude's going to have a huge 3 touchdowns in the first game.
My bet's looking pretty good. That's taking a beer bet's off to a hot start, Mac.
Sure is, Mac.
Erase that one off the board.
Who got that Eagles run?
Do you really look at the Giants and think, boy, they are a Saquon Barkley away from winning like 10 games and competing in that division?
Do I want to go down in flames that much? Or do I want to be competitive? Remember, people are looking now.
Okay, you just said it. The competitive rebuild is not a real thing.
Dude,
it's not a
you
real
have to
thing.
do something.
You're either competitive or you're rebuilding, and I think that was so apparent in week 1. So apparent, right? You saw the rich got richer, the poor got poorer, and then there's a little bit of the middle class, right? The frisky but fun teams, the Vikings, right? I'll say the Vikings. The Vikings are
very frisky.
The Vikings are frisky. They're frisky and they're fun, but they're not really like, wow, they could go to the NFC Championship. Right, and then there's the teams that you're like, yeah, they're just in a complete rebuild mode. Like they don't have talent, they don't have depth, they have issues. They're just new coaching staff, whatever it might be. The Giants are in a full rebuild. You pay Saquon Barkley, you're not really rebuilding because you just don't have the money to truly rebuild. Like Mac, I'm with you. If you have Saquon on that team, it's not all of a sudden they're like, oh wow, now we're a 12-win team. Like, are they maybe now like a 7-win team or a 6-win team? Maybe. I don't think that's worth paying a guy $12 million a year.
My question goes back 2 years ago. If you take away the Giants scored like whatever it was, a combined 60 points against the Vikings Ed Donatel defenses regular season, and then that week the playoff
week
win
1?
2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And
First steak and a beer bet.
Fuck you.
It was
The very first steak and a beer
I can't
bet.
believe I lost that bet.
And
I paid up
Daniel
on that,
Jones played really well. He's using his legs, everything. But they allowed a playoff win to dictate like the next 3 to 4 years of their future at that position, black or white pay scale. It wasn't like they could come in and say, we kind of like you, $20 million. They committed $80 million guaranteed. I first guess thought that was a mistake. I know Jay's the Giants homer of the group here, and you've had the good faith view of this thing, but the best thing the Giants can do right now, in my opinion, is go 2-15 and pray to God that one of the quarterbacks in this draft is the solution for the future. By the way, Brian Daboll, if this thing doesn't get back on the rails, impatient fan base, everything, they might let go Brian Daboll before he ever gets to pick his quarterback. Like, he came in, inherited Daniel Jones. So I don't know, man. It's 1 week, and I don't want to overreact to 1 week, but that, to me, it's between Carolina and the Giants. Who's the worst team in the NFL right now after week 1?
Dude, Carolina. That was.
I text I have a client on the Saints. And I go, I promise you, winning the NFL is not that easy. Yeah. I go, I promise you, like, it's the best feeling in the world. And that's one thing. I got to text 2 clients that were rookies, and they both won their first games. And I go, there's no better feeling than winning the NFL, is there? And they're like, dude, it's like heroin. Like, it's the high that can never be topped. Ever. Like, winning a game in the NFL it's so hard to do. Like, when you pull one together, it's just so satisfying. Versus, again, I had 2 clients that lost, and the sting of losing the NFL is equally as terrible. Yeah. Right? It's such a black and white win, lose, or draw. It doesn't matter how it happens. And so yeah, Carolina's tough. Carolina's got issues across the board too.
Yeah, they sure do.
Okay, next mic. Booney, hit us with a mic here.
All right, you brought it up. I'm going to have to go with it. And this is my first mic. I'm eating my own words. The Patriots. I mean, I'm sorry, Gerard.
Wow.
I totally slept on you guys, and I forgot that if you just play disciplined football and just hammer it out long enough, you'll be fine. But the Bengals, what the fuck, dude? Just fumbling the ball going into the end zone, not catching touchdowns, fucking up the punt. Like, fumbles cost. Dude, that game to me was like, this is a team that's playing perfect football. When you talk about the Patriots, like, we're going to run the ball, we're going to play action a little bit, but defensively we're going to keep everything contained, we're going to have ball security, we're going to be going for the ball. Like, I was really kind of blown away by the Bengals. But honestly, I don't know if you guys feel like this, but I feel like it's almost like, we'll be okay. They always kind of start like this. Like,
yeah,
look
they
at
do.
Their first
zero panic.
1-5. They're 1-5.
Zero panic in Cincinnati.
Right? But here's the problem I have with this. It's the Patriots. And everybody going in was like, man, this is going to be rough, right? Like, they'll be lucky to get some. And you come out week 1 in Cincinnati and you fucking give it to them. And it's like, holy shit, dude. Maybe I'm a little more panicked than everybody else. And I'm not saying this is a hot take, but at some point, something has to change. And maybe it was the fact that Jamar Chase wasn't practicing because of the holdout, and now he's back, because I think eventually people got to him and they were like, you're just not getting paid. Like, it's just not going to happen. It's for the exact reasons that we talked about last week, because there's a lot of dudes, surprisingly, that text me and called me and were like, you have a great point. Like, I was wondering why they weren't paying him, but it's because he's young. And they're like, there's no way. And it was former players that were like, there's no way they'll pay anybody early.
Yeah, he'll get it in a year.
He's back. But, dude, we talked about it last week, right? Maybe this is, and I've kind of stumbled onto this, Maybe it's the fact that Jamar Chase wasn't effective early. He wasn't showing up early. Like, what, they threw him the first ball in like the third quarters when he started showing up. Like, it's like him even not playing a half has that much of an impact on the season.
But I mean, you pair that with the fact that T. Higgins has been in Jamar Chase's spot all of camp,
Right.
everywhere, and then the dude pulls a hammy on Wednesday? Right, like Wednesday practice, he pulls a hammy. And so now you're saying, okay, sorry, T. Higgins, you've been wide receiver 1 since July 29th, right, when we reported to camp, and you've been getting all the routes and the timing with Burrow and everything there. And then Jamar Chase hasn't been practicing, and then they throw him in, and the timing's off. Like, they just didn't look crisp. And then also, where's this Bengals run game that we were promised?
Dude.
Right, like everyone was saying, we're going to commit to Zach Moss and Chase Brown, and we're going to pound the rock, and we're going to do all these things. And then it's like, as soon as it didn't work early in the game, abandon ship.
Let's do what we normally do.
Abandon ship.
65 passes.
Drop back 60 times. Joe Burrow, put your cape on and go and do it. That's not a recipe for when you're throwing to. I can't even name like the Asa, whatever the guys with the I's name is. And
Hold on. I had it in my head. God damn it.
I mean, it's just, it's not a, it's T. Higgins, Jamar Chase.
It's Ishevitz, right?
I don't even
Andre
know.
Ishevitz.
But like, if that's wide receiver 1 for you, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Like the drop off from T. Higgins, Jamar Chase to that's a huge issue. And so when you say, okay, screw it, we're just going to drop back and throw it all the time, and you don't got a lot of separation and doing that stuff, that's just a tough world to live in for an offense.
I know why I'm getting a little more panicked than normal, because I'm like, I thought we would see something more than this, and we didn't week 1 when we're wearing the all orange unis and we look super silly. Like, dude, I was really kind of blown away, and I thought for sure they were going to come out gunslinging, and it was just not what I thought. And
You're out on the all orange uniforms,
dude. I'm out for sure.
You're done.
But I'm even more so. Like, I'm eating my own words, because I'm like, dude, they gave him the Gatorade shower. They went fucking full bore. They were all about it.
The bigger thing is the time of possession. 35 minutes for the Patriots.
Yeah.
35 minutes in time of possession.
Can you guess,
I'm trying to
without
think
looking
what
at
they
the box
rushed for.
score, how many rushing attempts did the Patriots have without looking?
I mean, I would say what, 40?
35.
30,
I was going to say
39.
35. I was going to say
39, yeah.
35.
39
but,
for
hey,
a $170. Grinding.
That's how you win a fucking football game. You come out there and say, we're just going to commit to this. We know that not everyone's going to go, but the ones that do are going to take time away from the clock, which keeps the ball out of Joe Burrow's hands, which keeps their offense off the field. And at the same time, we're not going to give you any opportunities. Like, there was a formula, and I forget what it was, but Tom Rathman, shout out Nebraska running back, Tom Rathman used to put a formula together every week when we would go on the road, and it was like, if you fumble the ball and you're the road team, you have like a 25% chance of winning. If you fumble the ball twice, you have like a 5% chance. But all of a sudden it would go the other way. And say if you were on the road and the home team fumbled the ball, you have a 55% chance of winning. If they fumble twice, you have like a 75%. So it's like simple things can equal a win. And yeah, they're not always sexy, and they're not always pretty, and they're not always, oh my God, flashy dashy. But it's like, dude, if you stick to the basics and you stay disciplined, which I totally slept on Gerard Mayo. Like, I forgot the disciple that he is. We're going to play.
It is 1 week.
simple.
You don't have
It
to
is.
completely
It is.
admit
Say,
that
let's-
you were wrong.
let's
dude.
calm
I'm
down.
not. I'm just saying I feel bad because here I was going off on this dude, and he came out and he beat the fucking Bengals. Like, beat Joe Burrow after a Slim Shady haircut. I'm coming back. Don't sleep on me. You're telling me that you're not a little bit like, wait a minute, what the fuck?
So the
I mean,
other
come
thing,
on.
39 rushing attempts. This is death by paper cuts, man. This is a slow 3-hour. The longest run was 17 yards. So
Yeah.
they didn't even have a 20-yard chunk explosive play. It was just 5, 3, 12,
3 yards in a
7.
cloud of dust, baby. Just it gets you a dub as long as you play discipline, and you can get the other team to make mistakes, and that's exactly what they did. And I'll eat my words on that one.
For now.
All right. For now, dude. It's
For
week
now.
one.
It's week one.
It's week one.
It's week
I mean, dude, I'm not gonna lie. To come in and win your first game ever when no one's giving you a chance, I'm just really kind of, and I'm excited for him because he's a former player, and it shows that former players know exactly what they're doing and how to coach and what to do, and they need more of them in the league. I'm just really excited for the dude because I'm like, I fell asleep on you, and I apologize about that.
No. Okay, my first mic, man, I had a gut feeling about this when we made our playoff picks a week or two ago. I couldn't sleep the night that we made those picks. I'm like, I think I made a mistake, but
a liar.
we'll see. And so I'm watching these games on Sunday, watching the late afternoon slate, and I will say my first mic is the biggest regret from our preseason playoff predictions.
Tampa.
The Chargers and Jim Harbaugh looked
Dude.
exactly the way that they did with you guys, Booney, 12 years ago.
Yep.
So here, so I was just watching the game. It was disciplined football. It was conservative passing game. Run the football in the second half. They take that lead in the fourth quarter. But here's all you need to know. Justin Herbert threw for 144 yards in that game, and the Chargers still won by 2 touchdowns. 22-10. It was very reminiscent of those early 49ers, ball control, dude, 27 rushes, a $176, J.K. Dobbins breaking the big 60-yard run
Gonna
to ice
happen.
the game at the end. The locker room all fired up. Just the call. He's such a great culture builder, and I knew it when I left them out of the playoffs. I was going to regret this. And after it's 1 week, but Jim Harbaugh is great at turnarounds, and everything you saw in week 1 was so much more organized and dialed than it was the last handful of years in San Diego / Los Angeles.
Yeah, I agree with you. And it did remind me a lot of 49ers. Now, I will say this. That is a hard formula to keep up. And it is, dude, it is very hard to show up. It's exactly like what we just talked about. When you rush the ball 40 times, it's very hard to sustain that week in and week out. But at the same time, you're right, Mackie. He is a great culture builder in the fact that, like, he can come in and get guys to believe they're tough when they haven't been. Or maybe they've been shit on for years, but he's like, we're building something. It's a callus. We got to be tougher than this. And as long as we can sustain, he'd sit there with his pointy finger that would stick out. He'd be like, hey, folks, could just sit there and just grind. We're going to be okay.
Dude, the best part was the pre-game. So he goes up to Justin Herbert, with all of his quarterbacks. He does the shoulder pad bumping thing. So he walks up to Herbert and he pounds him on the shoulder pads, and Herbert goes in and hugs him. He thought he was going in for the hug. And so Harbaugh takes the hug, and then Herbert backs off, and Harbaugh keeps pounding on the pads, turns him around, and Herbert starts to walk away. Harbaugh grabs him. No, dude, I'm not done with the backside.
I'm not done with you yet. I'm not done with you yet.
Get over here.
And Herbert hates that shit. Like, Herbert runs from the media. Like, he tries to run and hide. And so all the cameras are there, and he's just like, don't look at me. Like,
uncomfortability.
I don't like it.
I'll tell
and then
you what,
you look at who he threw the ball to. So he had, I think it was 8 or 9 different targeted receivers. Lad McConkey is now the go-to, essentially number 1 wide receiver, man. Dude. And then Quentin Johnston from TCU a couple years ago. I think new day.
Didn't Hayden Hurst have the biggest play of the game, your tight end?
It's a G-row offense
30-yarder. When your tight end's got the most explosive plays. Like, if something has just gone so fucked up that they're like, listen, we're just going to dangle this and throw it over here. It's fun, and it really is fun. And to me, it's going to kind of change up the West, because I feel like the West has been just sling it for years, right? Like, we're just going to spread them out and throw it, and we're going to razzle-dazzle. And now it's kind of like, could this maybe mess with the Kansas City a little bit? Like, hey,
dude, you brought it up. You want to talk about pounding the rock? Kansas City.
Oh, there's no question.
The high flying days of Mahomes, spread them out and chuck it deep and do all that stuff. It's still there in the bag, but I don't think that's their identity much anymore. I think their identity is very much wants to be downhill with Isaiah Pacheco, quick slants to Rashee Rice, end arounds with Xavier Worthy. They're going to be much more dynamic with the short intermediate passing game and the run game of Isaiah Pacheco than they have. And you saw it towards the end of last year. It's what helped them lead up to the Super Bowl. But I think that's a lot more their identity. So, like you said, Chargers, Chiefs, the Broncos have no choice but to do that because Bo Nix. Woo! Sorry, buddy. You'll learn as it comes. Right? The Raiders are also going to try and do that a little bit too. I think you're right. I think the AFC West turns into a little bit more of a ground and pound session here for at least the beginning parts of the year.
So explain this to me. How do you've got Andy Reid with Patrick Mahomes, one of the most fun toys ever to play with, right?
Yep.
And showing discipline. Hey, man, he threw the ball 28 times.
Mm-hmm.
And then Herbert throws the ball whatever it was, 20 times or something in that game,
right.
25 times. And yet Sean Payton with Bo Nix in game 1. Hey, buddy. So we're going on the road in Seattle. First game of your NFL career.
Hey, what was
42 pass attempts?
I thought it was
for
46. Yeah. Listen, young fella, you got it in you. I might be
we believe in you.
Bryce Young, too, by the way. Second year, Carolina. All right, we're going on the road week 1. Let's air it out however many times.
They'll never see it coming.
Doesn't make sense to me.
Who wants to build an identity around here? Not us. I know it's going to be exciting, especially because for years we've seen the Kansas City be so dynamic in the pass game, and you got to think that Andy Reid's so fucking smart, right? Like the way that he draws up offenses, I can't wait to see what he starts to do more in the run game. You see this end around with Xavier Worthy, and you're like, holy shit! Like, do
you think the Chiefs with Xavier Worthy now? Did you guys watch them in week 1 and think 3?
My notes say KC is a fucking problem. Like already, I'm like, you better go after this team, and maybe that's my next mic is. They've gotten stronger again. Mm-hmm. They've gotten better. They're getting fucking better, and they're just drafting guys, and they're like, hey, you come with us. And all of a sudden, you look at it, and you're like, Jesus Christ. Because, Jay, you're right. We talk about just the run game with Pacheco is fucking dynamic enough right now where it's a threat, right? And all of a sudden, we get into an 11 formation, and we could just hand the ball off. And what are you going to play us? How are you going to find a big nickel to play us, right? Like, all of a sudden, now we're not going to do that. Well, then we're just going to throw it over the middle. Like, there's so many things. And the fact that Patrick Mahomes can do it from so many fucking angles, he could be upside down and make the perfect fucking throw. Like, it's just amazing, right? And even that first game was so fucking awesome to watch because it was two electrifying teams going at it.
And if you ask me, Kansas City left a lot of yards on the field.
Oh, for sure they did.
I mean, you missed that. Pirine's been there for what, like 2 weeks?
A month,
right? And so, like, they just barely miss on that swing route that he had where if he catches that, he probably scores, right? Travis Kelce had, 3 catches? Mm-hmm. Right? Like, he wasn't even involved in the game plan, so they'll start getting connected out with there again. Like, they're still working out kinks in the iron of what this whole offense is going to be. They're 100% the team to beat in the AFC, right? Everyone thought the Ravens were like, they're going to be the ones that have to beat them. And if I didn't love how the Ravens were running their mouth after the game.
Yeah. So hold on. So Isaiah Likely comes out and says, hey, if that's the best they got, then this, that, and the other, right? And then Lamar Jackson has said KC is my kryptonite in the past. And so somebody threw it back at him in the postgame. He said, they're not my kryptonite. They're not my kryptonite.
The fact that he also said that he still thought it was a score too was like, listen, bud, we all
still score in my book.
Yeah, when he was like, in my eyes, it was a score.
Rules.
I was like, there's actually an official scorebook, and thank God you don't get any say in that.
Can we also talk about how many camera angles they had of that? Like, they're like, do we want to see it? Do we want to see it from straight down? Do we want to see it from under the ground? Like, we have sensors in the ground now.
How about
actually,
from
if they
inside
step
Isaiah Likely's cleats? Here's another camera angle.
It was
toenail cleat.
They just kept like cycling through. Like, I was
the
like,
top
you can't get away with anything. You can't get away with anything.
It's about time, dude. You know what? There's so much going into this shit, and even I'm addicted to it. That it's like I need to know. I need to know who's fucking up and who's not. And I feel bad for refs because, dude, you're talking about this much. Like you can't be off by this much, and people are like, that ref sucks.
It's crazy.
Dude.
It's like baseball. You know, baseball umpires are as good now as they've been in the history of the sport. But we're all watching on these 70-inch TVs, and you're like,
with the box. The box is painted on the screen.
The only person in the universe that doesn't get access to that box is the guy calling the ball and strike. Here's a 98-mile-an-hour slider that just missed the outside edge.
I'm with
garbage. He's blind.
Tell me why we're paying you then. Don't stand there. Like, we'll let somebody else do it.
Full speed sprinting, and we get to slow it down with the NBC it cam. And poor Bob, the back judge, is like, I mean, I have no idea.
I do like this because it does make it more fair. What I do like, too, is they got rid of the pass interference where you can review all that shit because that just became too much. This game is way too fast, and I get it. People are going to make mistakes. I love that they have great camera angles now. But, dude, when it comes to baseball, if you can't get that strike and ball right, why the fuck are we paying you? Like Angel Hernandez, did you see how long he lasted with how many bad calls he had? It was terrible. I felt bad for that league.
Well, we are going to have K-Zone is going to be a thing at some point.
While we're on the refs, I have a mic.
Hit me.
This point of emphasis on the tackles needs to calm the fuck down. Like, relax, dude. Like, we're splitting hairs. And the problem with it is every tackle stance is different. And I don't think people take this into consideration, right? Everyone's like, well, the helmet's got to cross the belt line. If you watch how Ronnie Stanley's stance is, it's very upright. Like, he's a very upright player. Like, you compare that with a Lane Johnson, who's a very leaned over his knee, or like Joe Thomas,
Juwan Taylor.
Like Juwan Taylor. Those guys are very forward leaning in their initial stance, then they get themselves out. Ronnie, for ever and always has been a very upright in his stance and then just kind of stays in that posture as he goes, that it's going to be almost impossible unless he's on the line of scrimmage for his head to break the belt line. Like, there has to be a better way to do this. And the fact that they just kept throwing it and then they wouldn't throw it on Juwan Taylor. Yeah. I mean, it was so one-sided. It was mind-blowing. And then you saw Lane Johnson got it thrown on him too, and he looks over the ref and goes, "Where the F is my warning?" It's like,
always warn us.
There's very little inconsistencies, and I get it. I mean, the fact that they threw it on the second play of the game means that they must have warned someone on the first play of the game, right? But probably didn't get back to Ronnie. But now you're going to start seeing tackles do like receivers do, where they line up and they're checking with the side judge. Like, "Hey, am I good?" And he's like, "No, scoot up. It's like, oh my gosh, dude. Like, I get there's an emphasis point on the rule, but I hate when there's a point of emphasis at the beginning of the year and then it just gets way overcalled. Because that did play a factor in the game. It really did. Like, those, 5 illegal procedure penalties? I mean, that played a huge factor in the game, and we saw it throughout the week. I don't love it. I don't love that they're making this a mountain out of a molehill out of a mountain out of a molehill.
It reminds me of, remember when Clay Matthews, when they were trying to emphasize you can't drive a quarterback into the ground, and poor Clay Matthews was like the example being made in the first month.
Yes.
He had like 3 perfect form tackles of quarterbacks and got
Wasn't
flagged
one of them
15.
on Kirk Cousins, and it ended up costing him the game? He ended up
one was against the Vikings,
and he sacked
him,
and they ended up getting 15 yards, and then they ended up scoring a touchdown and winning. It's the same thing. Like, but let's be honest. Every year they kind of come to you and they go, "Hey, listen, this is the point of emphasis this year." Like, they kind of give you a warning.
They tell you. They
tell you. They always do in camp. They'll be like, "Hey, this is what we're going after." In the game, they normally come up to at least the tackle and they'll go, "Hey, you got to move up." They'll give you a warning and be like, "You're getting too far back." If there are a lot of times they don't give that warning, they'll just throw the flag, and that's bullshit. Because you at some point are like, "Dude, I'm used to being right here. What's wrong with me?" Like, and sometimes you'll check yourself. It gets really hard. Like, you're either. It's so hard to describe. Like, you kind of know if you're too far back. Like,
well, the other piece of it is a lot of it's on the guard, and Andrew Voorhees, first-year starter at left guard.
He is new,
right? Brand new. Like, he's lining up where he feels comfortable, and so the tackle. I never once in my 6 years in the NFL, 5 years in college, even in high school, I never once predicated my stance as a tackle off where the center was.
No.
Not once. I look at where the guard's inside foot is, and that's where I start my stance.
Yep.
Right? And so forever and always, if the guard is now 6 inches too far back, you're gonna get a flag. Like, and it's just gonna change, and I don't know. I really didn't enjoy the way they did it, and I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, if it's outrageous, like a few times, I mean, we can thank Juwan Taylor for this rule, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, thank you, Juwan Taylor, for ruining it for the rest of us. Right? But unless it's outrageous, it's not that much of an issue. It's not like you're gaining that much more as an advantage of a tackle because you're a few inches back. No, Boone, listen to me. I'm telling you, if it's outrageous, it's absolutely an advantage, right?
Okay.
If I'm 2 feet behind the center,
okay, I'm just making sure. If you're saying
I've got a ton, but like, dude, they were. I mean, it was fine, razor thin. Like,
no, I agree with you.
Face mask wasn't sniffing the belt line. Like, we better throw the flag. Like, it doesn't need to be that serious. It's not that serious.
I agree. But that does spawn into my next mic, which is so many mics wrapped into fucking one. It's insane. So everybody follow me down this rabbit hole. If Caleb McGarry could have gotten off the line a little bit fucking more, maybe that game goes differently. See, this is me once again being a vet and looking at a young player going, at what point were you going to get the fuck off the line? Or maybe beat the snap count. Or maybe do something different. Because TJ Watt fucking took that game over. And honestly, the Falcons got beat by Chris Boswell. And that's insane to me because you just paid that quarterback so much money, and it just does not look good. I mean, yeah, there was a nice drive where he went down there, and all of a sudden everyone doesn't see fucking, what was it, Drake London or Kyle Pitts, and you get your touchdown. But other than that, dude, that was a mess of a game. And not only that, but on the other side, you're talking about all of a sudden Russell Wilson's not going to play, Justin Fields is going to go in. This whole training camp battle was for fucking nothing. Like,
he pulled his calf. Leave him alone.
Okay, old man. Pull your calf
by the way,
fucking first week of the season.
What the timetable for that calf injury recovery is? However long Justin Fields plays well for.
I was going to say, I hate to tell you,
there.
Russ, but you're out until they lose, and Chris Boswell misses a field goal. But that whole, I'm really kind of blown away by what's going on in Atlanta right now too. Just because you have Penix there, and it's been this, we'll show him once and we'll never show him again, and then all of a sudden we come out in the home opener, everyone's rah-rah. We almost have more Steelers fans in the stadium than anything. Like that whole scenario, and there was nothing there. And honestly, a lot of it was because TJ Watt was just wreaking fucking havoc the whole game.
I mean, wow.
Fumbling.
Three sacks, 2 hits, 1 TFL, and then he had a sack fumble that got taken off of the board for a DPI. Right? Like, unbelievable individual performance by TJ Watt. I think he's still bitter. He didn't win Defensive Player of the Year last year.
Oh, he's definitely bitter.
Like, he's definitely wearing
pissed.
that. He's wearing that chip on his shoulder that he believes that, and he came out and put the NFL on notice. If you single block me, I'm going to hurt you. Like, I'm going to hurt you. And that was part of my issue is Atlanta. This dude is in his bag
What are
right
you
now.
doing?
He's feeling every ounce of he can do whatever he wants, and very little chip help, very little tight end help, very little slide help. Like, they kind of left Caleb out there on the island and were like, hey, bud, figure it out. It's
Which
like,
was
I need some
stupid.
freaking help, man. Sometimes
Dude.
you just need a little bit of help as a tackle. And when a guy's feeling himself like that, it's tough. It's really tough to get him out of his groove. And, you know, it was just one of those things where they knew they couldn't run the ball. He had his ears pinned back, and he went for it. And, wow. I mean, unbelievable individual effort by TJ Watt.
If you go back and look at the last sack, they barely slide to him. And that's
No.
my biggest issue. Like, even after 3 sacks, you're still just sitting there with the same fucking pro. After 1, I could see somebody being like, hey, pull your head out of your ass. Are you good? Most guys will go, I'm not good. I'm not like, this is not the time to be a superhero, right? Because this is what fucking happens. You get beat by 6 field goals. And all of a sudden, everyone's turning around like, how much fucking money we pay this guy? And now all of a sudden, now if it's an offensive line problem, and now all of a sudden we're throwing interceptions, and now all of a sudden, what the fuck are we doing? Like, simple fixes drive me nuts. It's the Chris Jones on Justice Hill. What the fuck are we doing? Offensively, schematically, this makes no sense to me. And the minute he's got 2 sacks and he's starting to wreak havoc and he's causing disruptions, I'm like, okay, guess what? Now we're chipping him every time we're on our way out of here.
Yeah.
Guard, find
Make
your
someone
fucking
else
way
beat
over
you.
there.
Make
Dude,
someone else beat you.
I will let
You
Cameron
guys-
Hayward ruin this game before I will let fucking TJ Watt, because you've just added gas to the fire. And now everyone's looking at this going, you just couldn't stop one guy? What the fuck?
That's great. All the things you guys just talked about there was great, but you have just fallen into the classic Kirk Cousins trap, which is my next mic, which is somehow after every single loss he's ever quarterbacked in his entire career, he gets fans and media talking about all the things that went wrong around him instead of talking about the guy that's made $300+ million in his life playing football and has delivered 0 high-level winning beyond the wild card round of the playoffs.
We're beyond that. We know that issue. We've already talked about that issue. I just think we can't talk about it anymore to the point where we're like, just put Penix in. Okay,
But you know what? But this is like Falcons fans look at a box score for years and years, and now this is a much more broken version. And all the things you just said, it's even more important to be sound up front when you're facing a TJ Watt. When you have a statuesque 36-year-old, there's a video clip that Underdog put out on social media today, and we can maybe include this in our film breakdown this week. It's a 3rd and 15, so it's a must pass, but offensive line holds up perfectly for like 3 seconds, and Kirk steps up in the pocket to throw a pass over the middle, of course short of the sticks, but they zoom.
check down.
Dude, his right, he can't plant his foot. No. He literally, so he's known for months, and I credit him and his agent, congratulations. He's been broken for months, and he still swindled another organization into a $200 million bag.
Dude.
So he could sit back there, teeth clenched, hands on the ear holes.
I'm not, because I think it was on this fucking show that we were like, you're really going to let a guy throwing a ball in a tennis court determine $200 million?
They did.
Dude, no. I'm done with the can't. I cannot.
They did it. It's
Jay,
going to happen.
You're almost doing this with the Jets, though. It's the same fucking injury. I'm telling you right now.
We'll find out tonight.
I've been there.
We'll see tonight.
We'll see tonight. I know. I'm just saying. Been there when they're like, hey, you're really fucked up. And, oh, you're fine. That little guy in the back of your head, no matter what you fucking say goes, you're not fine. And he did not look comfortable in that pocket. And at times he looked slow to move. And he was like, this is not what I thought it would look like. And not only that, but the offensive line I thought would be fucking destroying people. Like, I did not think Atlanta's O-line.
I also think Pittsburgh's defense is better than it was last year.
Dude, Mike Tomlin,
Pittsburgh,
once again.
Pittsburgh's defense is not to be forgotten about.
Dudes. Yeah.
Right. And people are kind of writing Pittsburgh like, oh, the quarterback battle. And that whole defense just sat there going, okay, we have Alex Highsmith, TJ Watt, Cam Hayward. We're going to be just fine. And those dudes took it to Atlanta's front, just gave it to them.
Yeah. I mean, yes, they did. But I think if I could rank quarterbacks the last 10 or 12 years, which quarterbacks make their offensive line look way better than maybe it is? Guys like Lamar Jackson and Ravens have a good offensive line historically, but
Patrick Mahomes.
Kirk makes his offensive line work so much harder to do their job, especially 36-year-old kid. He's like, one time when I was in New York City as like a 15-year-old, I bought a fake pair of Oakleys because I thought I got duped into buying a fake pair of Oakleys. These teams that keep paying $40 or $50 million a year for Kirk, they think they're buying a solution to all their problems, and really they're just buying an expensive counterfeit Oakley or Rolex. Yeah,
dude.
So, yeah, offensive line do better, weapons do better, run the right routes, whatever, like coaching staff. But you guys paid $50 million a year for something that's not a solution, and I think Michael
did not
Penix
start off well, especially for a home game to start the season off. I was. There's
a lot of empty seats in that stadium too.
I was like, for sure.
They did a couple pan arounds, and I was like, where are?
Maybe they're all pounding the $4 hot dogs in the
concession.
Like,
yeah, where
probably are, dude.
And I thought you were going to go here,
prices.
and maybe I know you said that we left. All of us on the show agreed that NFC South was going to be Atlanta, right? If I recall, we all said, yeah.
Begrudgingly, but yeah.
I think it's Tampa Bay's.
Dude,
Baker Mayfield came out and freaking cooked.
Dude.
And Graham Barton and Cody Mock in the middle there, with Haynes, that young interior of that offensive line is going to be super solid for a long time. You've got Gadecki on the outside, Tristan Wirfs, that O-line is young. They've got talent. They're on rookie deals. Baker went out there and cooked with Godwin and Mike Evans and that whole crew. I think the NFC South still has, based off week one, again, overreaction, sure, whatever.
Oh, I'll give you this one for sure.
But I think Tampa still runs the NFC South as of right now. I mean, they looked very sharp.
Think about it, Jay. What does Todd Bowles love to do? He loves to create havoc, pressure. All of a sudden, what we've talked about this on the show, the minute you open Pandora's box, the minute you show you can't do something, everybody's just going to push so much harder on that. Did you fix it? Did you cover it up? And a lot of the issues up front for Atlanta was just movement. Guys slanting and just oversetting, and all of a sudden you're like, this is not what we planned. This is not at all, especially like Mackey said. We know who's behind us. If anything, we need to be the most solid fucking group up here. We know for sure what we have. And we didn't put that out. And now a team like Todd Bowles can go, nah, all right, great. We're just going to pressure the fuck out of you and see how fast you last. Not only that, our offense is rolling right now. Dude, I feel bad sleeping on Baker too. We all thought it would be Kirk down there because how could you fuck that up? Oh, wait. Never mind. I'm kidding. Tampa all the way. Total overreaction. I'm Todd. I owe you a steak and a beer for sure.
Well, Todd Bowles too. I feel like, and I've been guilty of this since Tom Brady retired. A lot of people look at Tampa as they're just in this kind of weird transition mode. Yeah. They're going to bring in Baker for a minute, and Todd Bowles is just going to go back to being a coordinator.
Stopgap head coach.
Then they just go and win a playoff game last year. And, again, 1 week, but they hang 37 points on Washington. And another example, too, of putting the ball in a rookie quarterback's hands probably way too much. So Jayden Daniels, first game in the NFL, 40 combined pass attempts and rushes. Now he did rush for 88 yards and a couple touchdowns.
Yeah.
And they move the ball a little bit, but man, like these rookies are starting in week 1, and hey, you're gonna throw or run 40 plus times. Bo Nix, Jayden Daniels, the game is yours right away.
2/3
Go
of the game
decide for
runs
these
through
defenses.
you. Yeah, it's crazy, especially for such a young player, for somebody. And it's kind of funny because Jay and I were talking earlier, and I'll get into my next mic later, but like the minute you hit we're live, a lot of these rookies just went way down. Like they were
ain't the preseason anymore, buddy.
Listen, this isn't backups chasing you. This isn't some fucking guy trying to save his life. This is a guy making $12 million who fucking hates you, just ruined your guard. Like you cannot put that much pressure on a rookie. These coaches don't understand, like, you're asking these guys to do a lot, and they're running for their lives, and they're like, holy shit, these guys are trying to kill me. And the dudes are, I'm telling you right now, the one thing dudes love to do is talk shit to rookies. Like, minute they fuck a rookie up or they're chasing them, like, got you now, bitch. And they're like, yeah, motherfucker, he's not playing either. Move your ass or throw the fucking ball. Get rid of it. Like, dude, shit just got real. Dude, you want to know why? Because we're fighting for big checks. When you're fighting for a small check, and I know I'm going to make the team, I don't really give a fuck. I'm just here to work. But when I'm out here for real, dude, shit goes banana balls. And I agree with you a lot.
The perfect example is Caleb, the nose guard.
Dude, that's my next mic.
Beats the center so clean for the Chicago Bears, right? And how many times last year in college, or recently, I mean, the last 3 years we watched Caleb Williams in college, he spins out of the pocket and he runs to the sideline, and then he runs to the other sideline, and then he throws deep to someone from USC, and they beat Cal Poly on Saturday night. Woo! Yeah. Caleb tried doing that one time and got
nose tackle,
eaten alive. It was
30 yards in the backfield.
Welcome to the NFL, bud. They're really fast and really big, and like Alex said, they want to hurt you. Like they want to. They don't care what color your nails are painted. They don't care that you say "the Bears" right here. In fact, that makes them want to hurt you even more. Like,
yeah, because their coach is like, if we lose to this guy, you're all painting your nails for a week, and they're like, the fuck we are. Like, dude, I'm not even kidding you. You cannot. I'm telling you. It's funny because even now I feel like I get drawn into this. Like the Caleb Williams in the preseason, I'm like, God damn, this kid looks so fun. Week 1, I'm like, what the fuck just I forgot the starters are out there, and they're probably up at the line, and he's trying to check, and they're like, shut the fuck up, rookie. And he's like, oh my God, he told me to shut up. Like, dude, shit gets so real. God damn, I love football.
But you know what?
Chicago's defense, though.
That's the thing. Like in classic Soldier Field Bears fashion.
In classic
hold on. What are you doing with your camera over there? You're just like having seizures. You just touching your camera. It's bouncing everywhere. What are you doing, Mac?
Mackey,
can I get a fine for there's something going on here. I don't know what you're doing.
Stupid fucking.
You're not repaired. Something's wrong here.
Quick side street, and then I want to get back to Caleb Williams here. So I had a horse of a streaming computer that I bought in August of 2023. Like, I had a few issues in the year before that, and traveling and moving and stuff, where I didn't have like a reliable streaming computer for doing hours of YouTube and podcasting every day. So I went out and paid like $2,500 for just an absolute hoss of a streaming computer, and the only thing I needed it for was external webcam. Just a couple different pieces of streaming software, and that's it. No files, nothing. Like, just let it run. And it was perfect for 13 months until last Friday. And last Friday, you know how like on your computer it'll pop up, do you want to restart your computer in 10 minutes or postpone to do like a big update?
Yeah.
And it was like a BIOS update. And I delayed it for like 3 days, and finally it snuck one in on me, and it updated like the BIOS of my computer. It turned back on. It was laggy all weekend. It was glitchy. It would just like shut off randomly. So something was up. So I literally went to Geek Squad last night with my streaming computer and talked to some nerdy guy named Jonathan. Thank you, Jonathan, for helping me out. So they're going to take it in for a few days and try and fix my main. This is my backup setup.
Yeah,
I didn't think you guys would even notice.
You're bouncing around everywhere.
I know.
That's driving me nuts. You're super close. Like you're uglier or even closer. It's
really
just there's no baldness of your head is so shiny. But anyway, sorry, you get the fine for that because it's distracting me. Next, you're going for Caleb Williams. What do you got?
Caleb
Mac?
Williams. No, we already started talking about Caleb Williams, but
Yeah, we did.
so up until yesterday, and he did not play well. I agree with everything. He found out the hard way about life in the
There's
NFL
no
regular
fucking
season.
around anymore, dude.
But
Yeah, welcome.
number one overall quarterbacks were 0-14-1 in their debut games since 2002. David Carr is the last one to win his debut back in 2002.
That is
And
so
so
old.
classic Bears fashion, weird things always happen inside that stadium. You get your random special teams touchdown,
Pump block.
or your
Yup.
Will Levis just like freaks out and throws a
Yeah,
backhanded.
I thought that
What
hair.
is he doing? In
Falls
the
to his knees. Have you seen that picture?
Yeah.
Have you seen the picture, dude? He throws the interception.
I didn't
He's
see
running.
this.
He does, dude. He's not even chasing the ball. He literally falls to his knees on the 20-yard line and goes surrender cobra. Right, like as he's just high stepping from the 10-yard line in, and he's just like, no. Oh my gosh.
Saved.
Ridiculous, man.
Saved by the green weenie.
I did. There's a meme, like that video memes that came out. That's like those like Star Trek Enterprise. It's like Bears special teams. I did my jobs. Bears defense. I did my job. Like, cause I didn't do effing nothing. Right?
Yeah.
Like, so funny. It's like, Caleb, you got the dub, man, but a lot of work to
Dude,
go ahead here.
A
But
lot of work to go ahead. I mean, I'm starting to regret that playoff push. I'm starting.
I don't know. That defense is going
it's-
to take them a long way.
Yeah,
that
but
defense is
listen,
going to take them a long way.
We know how far a defense can take you until eventually they're like, okay, we're gonna press on you now, and it's like you better figure that shit out quickly, dude. But if anything, it's just a reminder to all these rookies that you can look great in the preseason, and to all the fans, like you can look amazing, right? And you forget when you step in there versus starters, it's a different world. Like it is turned into a dog-eat-dog world, and there's no sympathy on the field. Even coming from us, like we don't feel bad for you. Fucking figure it out and get it done for us. Like, and the minute you take a 30-yard sack, you know his O-line was looking at him like, "Fuck, are you doing? What are you doing? This is not fucking college." I'm pretty sure that was said in the huddle several times.
bad.
This is not college, dude. Don't fucking do that again. And
Baker
it
was
just-
guilty early in his career too. Like
Oh,
first couple of
absolutely.
years, Baker thought, "Oh, I ran around at Oklahoma. I
This will
can
be
just run
easy.
around." Like, no, dude,
You're
different.
not. The nose tackles run 4.9s, bro. It's insane. And you put some pads on them and they get faster. I never understood that. It's just like they're hungry dogs. And the minute you show them the ball, they're like, I will fucking kill anybody to get to it. And it's just funny because like preseason, when I was excited. Bo Nix, Caleb, Jayden, and the first week, it's like, I should hold up a little bit. I forget they're rookies and they're stepping into a different world, and there's checks and there's timeouts and there's 40 seconds and there's, hey, I didn't get to play. What are we doing? Dude, that's the worst. Snap count. Everybody has to stop to be like, it's on one, stupid. God. There's just so much going on, but yeah, a lot.
All right, boys. I've got 2, maybe 3, depending on time here. Is this a hot take? Questions for you guys.
Let's do
A bunch of stuff we haven't even touched on yet. So
Oh, there's
I'll
a lot
start
of
with
mics
this
we
one.
missed.
I think the mics that we missed, we're gonna sprinkle into this, and then dumb football questions too for part 2. So we will get to every big topic.
Let's go.
We think we will, at least anyway. So, okay, is this a hot take? You tell me if it is or not. As long as the Cowboys continue to employ Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott as the head coach and quarterback, they will continue their Super Bowl-less drought. So $60 million a year for Dak yesterday. And by the way, they shellac the Cleveland Browns, and there's a whole
Shellacked
Browns
them.
conversation to be had here too.
There's
Not.
But
There's no
but the-
conversation there. I'm telling
The
you, I'm
thing
from
that
there.
stood out the most to me was because for the Cowboys, we know you can win 12 games in the regular season. We know you can beat bad teams. Like we get it. Mike Zimmer's defense was revving up. That's awesome. Congratulations. I'm looking at the little details that prevent them from getting to NFC Championship game, Super Bowl, like close game. What decision is the head coach going to make? And at the end of the first half, classic Mike McCarthy, they're going out for a 66-yard field goal attempt, a chance to tie the NFL record. And the play clock starts winding down, and the special teams unit is still lining up. Play clock hits 0, back it up 5 yards. Fox camera turns to the sideline, and there's Mike McCarthy and a couple other coaches, apoplectic, yelling at the officials like, "You gotta bump the play clock, bump it, bro." You had 2 timeouts left in your bag. 2 timeouts left. with 5 seconds to go in the first half. Who cares what the reason is? Call a timeout. And he's like arguing, no, you should have bumped the play clock.
Push it.
I know the Cowboys dominated, celebrating Dak Prescott, contract, all that stuff. As long as Mike McCarthy and his clock management and Dak Prescott, who's like the 9th best quarterback in the league now making $60 million, are in those spots, they will continue to not win Super Bowls. Fight me.
You know how I feel about it. No, you know how I feel about that. I'm 100% with you. And I swear I thought they'd pay Micah Parsons. I swear
they still might.
They might. They probably won't, but they might. But at the same time, I'm with you on this, Mackey. 12 games every year guaranteed to win, but once you get into the playoffs, they're fucking loose cannon. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Zimmer made a very compelling statement yesterday by going out and fucking dominating.
Hendricks still got some gas.
Dominating some fucking shit. He made that O-line look bad. And, dude, you can't tell me, Jay.
It's a good O-line.
It's a really good O-line. But don't get me wrong, the tackle depth is fucking scaring me. But, hey, you can't tell me that when you looked up there and saw that 4-2 Cali, you didn't start
4-2 Cali, I was like, there it is.
Flashback.
I started PTSD moment.
Not only that, but there was Kendricks, and I go, motherfucker, you still got the same guy in the same spot, like still running the whole fucking show. Shout out Eric Kendricks with the INT. I love you, brother.
Yep.
But honestly, dude, like this is one of those things where maybe because Zimmer's there now, you can start to rely on this team a little bit more, because I can tell you one thing. As much as he is a dickhead, he is a tough motherfucker, and shit gets done right. Like, you do not fuck around on his defense. And that's where I'm starting to be like, okay, maybe I slept on this team a little bit. They do have fucking playmakers everywhere. Do I think you should have paid Micah? Yes. Do I think you should have paid Dak? No. Will we see what happens? Absolutely. But at the same time, it was the Browns. Like, dude, Deshaun Watson looked like shit. The fucking O-line's getting him hit all over the place. Just not what I've normally seen from them. And that's where I'm starting. That's honestly what I expected. And that's why I kept them out of my playoff push. Because you can't come in this league after 2.5 years and expect to be dominant. It doesn't fucking work like that. I'm sorry. It's one of these things where every day you have to see speed. You have to be challenged. You have to be pushed beyond the reason of doubt. When you're not, you can't just jump in and go, well, I'm used to throwing this. Motherfuckers are so much faster, and it's only been 2 years. D linemen are getting faster every year. O linemen are starting to run sub-40s constantly, and it's like, Jesus Christ. This has only been like 5 years since I played. What the hell happened to these guys? Like, genetic freaks. And that's where I'm like, dude, yeah, Dallas went out and they beat the shit out of Cleveland, as they should have. They have playmakers everywhere. And at the same time, you have a phenomenal defense now run by a stellar dude who can be a dickhead at times. But Cleveland, good fucking God, I feel so sorry for them. I do. Dude, you don't understand. I'm from there. And those people just want to win some fucking games. That's all they want to do.
They've gotten a taste. They've gotten a nice taste.
They
like
did.
They're right there.
They're like, no, we're not there. We are not there anymore. Like, I feel bad for Kevin. Let's just hear me out. Hear me out. Wasn't Ken Dorsey fired from the Bills last year?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I say no more. I'm just halfway through the year, right? Halfway through the fucking year, I'm looking at this offense going, this doesn't make... Oh, this looks like the Bills last year, the beginning of the season. This is a fucking mess. I mean, dude, my 7th grade team runs better fucking plays than they do. I was like, this is the dumbest shit
By the
I've
way,
ever
did you guys...
seen.
Are you guys 1-0? What's your 7th grade?
We're 2-0 right now.
2-0?
We went down to New Prague last week, and it got a little bit spicy. It got a little bit heated. One of the side judges from the other side called my receiver for an illegal formation.
Oh.
And it was at that point that I had walked out on the field, and I was like, I need you to explain to me of 10 years in the NFL how you can make that call from on the opposite sideline. Because
was it an illegal formation?
No, it wasn't, because the ref on our sideline was like, no, he was off, and he told me. And the ref was like, well, that's my apologies. I go, no, you can explain to me how you can think you can make that call, because you have a job to do, and it doesn't involve fucking looking over there. It involves looking right here.
So scared if I was that offended.
Dude, they're fucking 12, and you're calling them for being too far back.
Especially with Boone. You got the cane when you're going out there? Or
no, I'm fine. I walk now. I'm at 110 degrees flexion. The doctor was like, you're 120, you're done. I go, I'm fucking going to hit it next week, man. You know me. I'm already starting to lift. I'm already starting to Peloton again, get on my bike. I'm rolling, man. And football's been great. The boys have been great. You know what, though? I will say this. Now that they hit this puberty stage of 12 and 13, they're like, I don't want to be the first one to get hyped because I don't want to look stupid. And I'm like, then we're just going to fucking run if you want to come out here with this kind of energy. So they've been running a lot.
Yeah, they are a little more insecure at that age than when they're 11 years old.
Hey, and I will say this. I'm proud to say that I was not the first team to get in trouble for language. I know everybody probably wonders how I deal with the youth. I do not sound like this around the kids. I only do this because I'm with my boys and we are having fun. When we're around the kids, it's way different. But I was not the first team to get in trouble. I was on a call last night with Southwest Metro, and another team got in trouble for foul language, and I was like, can you believe that wasn't me? And everybody was like, are we talking about Boone's team? And they're like, no. And I was like, I know, I can't believe it either. Fucking insane, right?
Dude, we should like invite the audience to one of your. When you guys get to the playoffs, can we invite the entire Minnesota-based audience to?
Listen, you can come to any game you want. Mackie, boys are asking when you're going to come. We're playing tomorrow night.
I told you, text me a schedule.
Tomorrow night at Miller, 6 p.m.
You're going to have to remind him about 100 times.
Dude,
I forget.
You'll hear me from down the street. I blast the music. We go crazy. We have fun. I think we're playing Chan. It's going to be a fun game.
Oh, Chan. I hear they've got a nice running game this season.
Dude, I'll tell you what. These boys are getting bigger. We had Chaska come in the other day, and I'm not
Chan's
kidding
nickel
you.
defense.
Dude, Chaska came in with some boys.
They got that edge rusher.
Yeah. Little Johnny.
I'm telling you, man. You sleep on these kids.
I'm going to push back on the Cowboys, though, Mac.
Oh, really?
I think that they've decided and they've went all in going, you know what? No more questions about Dak. No more questions about the direction of where we're going. Settle everyone down. Pay CD. Pay Dak. Go and do it. And I think this is the year they have to do it this year. I think if they don't, I think everything is settled for as of right now. If they win the Super Bowl, it's going to have to be this year. They have the talent. I think the addition of Mike Zimmer cannot be understated. That dude's been a head coach in the NFL, very discipline-oriented, like all the things you talked about with the discipline and whatnot. Like as that stuff goes on deeper into the season, Mike will let it slide less and less and less and less. Like, yeah, we had a whole podcast last week about how Mike was not a fun person to be around. But I'll tell you what, that dude knows football, and that dude knows how to do and make good decisions. In his tenure at Minnesota, he made very good coaching decisions. All of us were extremely informed on why he was going to do the things that he did. Right? They're like, hey, 2 minute, this is our process behind it. At the end of the game, this is our process. 4 minute, this is our process. Does everyone know the rules when it comes to special teams? Does everyone know what we need to do? What's our check in cover 2? Hey, we're going to cover 2 palms when we get into the red zone. Like, I know that stuff because he ingrained it in us. He will take over a lot of that stuff for the defensive side specifically, and that's going to trickle down to the offense with the detail-oriented stuff. I think he may be the linchpin that can get them over that hump of winning playoff games.
I could see him. I can't see him as a Super Bowl winning head coach for all the reasons we talked about last week. I can see him as a Super Bowl winning defensive coordinator.
100%.
For sure. We've all agreed with that.
100%.
And we've said that. Defensive coordinators are very angry, crotchety, cranky men. That's just how they always are. I think of all the DCs I've ever played for, and none of them were ever like, let's go out and have some fun. They're always like, fuck you, you're on the offense. And you're like,
I'm going to murder your family.
Really?
Whoa.
Oh, yeah, like, dude, they come out all the time like, wait till you see his fucking twist today. You're so fucked. You'd be like, aren't you on my team? Aren't you, fuck you, whatever, I hate you. But like when you put them in the corner, they're great with their defense, dude. I'm telling you, watch out, man. Like, it's gonna be interesting.
All right, I got one more here. Is this a hot take? And then anything that we missed, we'll put. I know there's some. Definitely, we got to talk about Packers and Jordan Love and stuff. We'll do that in dumb football questions. But Buffalo. Is this a hot take? I know Boone was kind of running around. I don't know if you got to hear much of Tom Brady on commentary, but is this a hot take? We finally found something Tom Brady isn't great at.
Terrible.
I heard a little bit of it.
Awful.
And I was like,
you know when I knew it was going to be.
Are you surprised?
When I knew it was going to be bad is when they threw it to him on Saturday during the halftime of Michigan, Texas. And they threw it to Tom to talk about the game and then to also talk about what he was going to be doing tomorrow. And he was like fumbling through his like monologue. Right? Yeah. He's like, we're just going to, we'll be back. And I was like, oh, you're not, this isn't going to be a good experience for you here. and it was tough to listen to. He was
$375 million. You know,
it was
kind of poke
not good.
No.
Greg Olsen was phenomenal on the call.
Greg
yesterday.
Olsen's amazing.
He did
Amazing.
phenomenal on the call yesterday.
I love him. He's
Tom,
So, dudes,
he's got some
people
some
poke
growth.
at Romo. People poke at Romo because like he's so excitable and this that. Jim, look at Jim, like
Mahomes. Josh Allen.
But especially the first couple years of Tony Romo, that dude came in bolt of lightning.
Oh, yeah.
Super excited. I'm predicting plays. I'm telling you exactly what the defense is doing. I feel like, and I don't think Brady was a train wreck per se, but he was just like super gun shy and bland and vanilla. And Jay, like among the three of us, like you've done in-game commentary. It is way harder than people think.
It's so hard.
Because it's like
It's
you got
so
15
hard.
seconds and you have to be interesting and say something and say it smoothly. And I think what I would tell Tom Brady, and some of this is on Kevin Burkhardt, the play-by-play guy, stop listening to people. Dude, you're going to get like 15 or 20 seconds between plays. I think someone told him, don't be too wonky because you're talking to a casual audience. No, be
Go
Tom
for it,
Brady.
dude.
Yeah.
And if
Be
we
you.
need to Google some terms and figure it out, we will. I mean, that's how I feel on this show sometimes. What those guys say? Oh, let me look up. Oh, double Cali. Okay, what does that mean, right? Just talk to us in a free-flowing way, and we will figure it out. And
Yes.
it's like he's afraid to throw the ball down the field as a broadcaster. That
Yes. I
was
can't
my
believe-
sense yesterday.
Someone
believe
told
you
him
guys
dumb
are
it down.
surprised by this.
Someone told him dumb it down, and he listened. Don't dumb
Don't
it down.
dumb it
dude.
down.
Be you. Be the Super Bowl winning. Let's fucking go, Tom
I don't
Brady.
know that
Right?
he
Like
can,
be
though, dude.
that guy. Yes, he can.
I
I
don't
really do believe
know.
that he can. I just think that he let too many people get into him. And he worried about like, will they know what I'm saying? Will they not? Instead of just letting his football mind explain in the words of what he's seeing, right? He's forgot more about football than most people. 99% of the people in the world will ever even know about football. Like that dude has such a brilliant brain. Showcase it, dude. Go for it. Go full send, right? Rip the ripcord and go. And if he can't do that in the next couple of weeks, it's going to be a long year for him.
I've seen him too much outside of football to know that he's just not gonna get too explosive. And honestly, with Greg Olsen and Tony Romo, and even at times Sunday Night Football, Chris Collinsworth, like they're exciting. As much as Chris Collinsworth's voice drives me nuts at times, like here's a guy, like he'll still come out and be like, wow, and you're like, God, it was a sweet play, like. Tom I don't know that he could ever want to see himself get like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's such a high level of football. Like, dude, you're talking the ultimate pinnacle, mountain. In my eyes, you're higher than Peyton. You're higher than everybody. I don't know that being a broadcaster was the best gig. Like, he's just never been the guy off the field to be goofy or funny. Like,
You have to have a layer of entertainer to
absolutely
to
You
be a
have
broadcaster.
That's my whole point. He's always the same. Well, and this and that, and it's like I've never really seen him fucking get excited to where I'm like, yeah, I see him on the field do that, but I've seen a lot of guys on the field do that. Doesn't mean they're going to be great commentators because once they leave the field, they have to keep this persona. I don't want to be this guy that gets too fucking wild. I'm always in control. Like, remember when they caught him drunk after the Super Bowl parade? Like, you heard about that for a day, and then everything was nixed because his PR staff was like, the fuck, he's going to get caught drunk again, never again. Like, instantly, I'm like, are you really going to be that fun? And
Dude,
honestly, I
you've
think
hit
that
it,
what's
man.
going to take him out is going to be the ownership because I've heard and I've read that it's getting pushed through. And I think if that goes through, they're going to be like, hey, why don't we all just bow out of this gracefully? We can all walk away from it. Like, there's no way you can be an owner and a broadcaster at the same time. You're just privy to too much shit.
tough.
I
You're
think Booney
you're in
nailed
the
the solution
building.
here, though. The ownership thing is I think that would be my second solution. The first one is just get him a little buzzed before the game starts.
I
Just
would
like
have.
like a beer and a half,
Fuck yeah.
beer and a half buzz, which for him might be 10 beers
Dude.
because he like doesn't drink
Drink
beer.
a crooked, Tom. You'll feel great. You'll want to go talk your ass off
avocado
for the whole
little
fucking thing.
avocado tequila or whatever he said it
Spirulina.
was.
What's he drinking? Spirulina. Put some of that in a shake. He's probably fucking through the roof. Just give the guy
He just
some
needs to be
sugar.
more
He doesn't
entertaining.
eat that.
And again, I don't know if he can be like Boone said, but I think it's in there. I think he just needs to figure out the right way to let it go and let it go out. I mean, it's his first time too, and I will give grace. Calling a game live
absolutely.
is really, really hard. Like, you got to know names, you got to know happening. You got to have a 15-second window to paint a picture and explain, and then have the timing to hand it back to your play-by-play guy. Like, it is an extremely difficult thing to do, and there's only one way to do it, and it's live reps. And I don't care if you've done 100 live reps on pre-recorded, know what's going to happen. Like, doing it live it's an extremely difficult thing, and so I'll give him some grace. Week 1, but it was a lackluster first impression, to say the least.
We should do one live. We should do a Vikings game, the three of us. We should do it live.
That's called copyright that we will not be allowed to do, but good try. I like the thoughts behind it.
We could do. I don't know if we knew someone that coached 13-year-olds and we could print out some rosters, stream it live on the O-Line Committee YouTube channel.
Play-by-play for 13.
Let's go. Let's
God.
Just hammer the head
I would
coach
do that.
of the
I get
England
involved
team.
with that.
Go.
Yeah,
So-
let's do it.
All right,
That was
that's
a
part
terrible
one.
coaching decision.
Part one.
Where's the timeout?
Should Boone be on the hot seat? We discuss next at halftime here. Eden Prairie leads only 31-3. How'd they give up those 3 points? We'll see. All right,
Don't jinx us.
that's Booney, the Rhino, Jeremiah Sirles. I'm Phil Mackey, and we're going to do a dumb football questions edition where we'll take a couple things from the week and then some of your questions from the YouTube comment section here. Click that like button and the subscribe button. This is the O-Line Committee.